In this video, we are going to have a look at a very affordable accessory from Meike that allow you to turn pretty much any lenses for your Nikon Z camera into a macro lens. Kia ora, good morning everyone, Rich Ron here. I just recently received this little accessory from Meike. Inside it is the automatic extension tube set for the Nikon Z camera. So what it is that it will allow you to turn pretty much any lenses for your Nikon Z camera into a macro lens. So this set basically including two different extension tube. Okay, let me take off the front cover and the bottom cover. There is a 18mm tube, the thicker one at the top, and then there's 11mm at the bottom. You can use each of these tubes separately to add some macro capability to your lens, or you can stack them together to maximize the macro effect. The construction of the extension tube is pretty good. As you can see, it's got the metal mount at front and also at the back. There is a little bit of rubber gasket at the bottom of the tube here on both of them, so that would give you a bit of weather seal if you want to take some macro photo outside when it's raining a little bit. There is electronic contacts at the front and the back, so that allow the camera and the lens to keep all the normal electronic communication. So that means autofocus will still work, and when you take photos, the camera can still record the EXIF data, or the shooting information will still be stored inside the file as well. To use this macro extension tube is pretty easy. Basically, you just unmount the lens from the camera, and then you can mount the extension tube to your camera body. Which way is it? Where's the dot? Oh, it's here. Mount it on there, and then mount the lens back onto the camera body, and that's pretty much it. And then you can now turn on the camera, and then you can start shooting, and all the normal operation will still be there. You still have autofocus. If you switch to manual focus mode, you still have the little arrow to tell you the direction, and then the focus confirmation. So pretty much everything still worked. It works very well with all the Z mount lenses I tried so far, and I also tried it with the F mount lens. So I used the FTZ adapter. Which way is it? Yes. With a F mount lens. And everything also works very well. I still have autofocus, and when I switch to manual focus mode, the focus confirmation and the little triangle indicator to tell you the focus direction, it still works perfectly. If you're wondering why they give you two separate tubes instead of just one big thick one, as you can just stack them together to get the maximum macro capability, there are two reasons. One is that once you put on the macro extension tube, it will just shift the focus distance range of the lens to much closer. With the Nikon Z-AF1 lens, once I put the 11mm extension tube in between this and the camera, the far focus distance is now reduced to around half a meter. And if I put both the 11mm and the 18mm extension tube in between, now the far focus distance is reduced to almost around 10 centimeters. And another reason is that once you put on the extension tube, it will also make your image a little bit darker. When you put on the 11mm extension tube, it will make it about 1/3 stop darker, and if you put on the 18mm tube, then it will be about 2/3 stop darker, and if you put on both, then it will be about 1 stop darker than without the extension tube. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the build quality of the extension tube. It's very nicely made. It seems to be strong enough, so even if I stack both of them together, and even if I put on the FTZ mount and then put on a Nikon F mount lens in front of it, the camera now looks quite funny because of all the extension tubes and the FTZ adapter that I put in between. But even with all this adapter, the camera and the lens still feel quite solidly joined together. There is not too much play or gap that I can feel in between the lens and the camera. Of course, don't be silly. Don't try to put a 600 f4 lens onto here and then hold it by just holding the body. If you do that, I'm pretty sure something will break, either the lens mount or the adapter or the extension tube. So don't do that. Otherwise, if you're just using with one of the normal lens, like for example this Nikon 2470 f4 lens, everything feels very securely and solidly joined together. Okay, now let me show you some example of what the extension tube can do to your normal lens. First, let me show you a picture that I took just using this 2470mm lens at 17mm. So this is at the closest focus distance possible on this lens by itself. And now this is the photo I shot when I put the 11mm extension tube in between the camera and the lens. And next, I swap out the 11mm extension tube and I put the 18mm extension tube between the camera and the lens. And now this is the final photo I shot when I stacked both the 11mm and the 18mm macro extension tube together. As you can see, there is quite a big difference when you just take a photo without any of the extension tube, and the last one when you put both of the extension tube together, you can get a lot closer, and that pretty much turned this 2470 kit lens for the Nikon Z camera into a macro lens. And with all those previous sample photos I shot, I took all the photos with exactly identical camera setting. I kept the same aperture value, ISO, and the shutter speed. And as you may have noticed, each of the photos get a little bit dimmer. I have mentioned earlier in the review, with the extension tube installed, the photo will get a little bit darker. So yeah, keep that in mind, especially if you shoot in full menu mode. When you put on extension tube, you have to adjust your exposure slightly to give you the correct exposure. And if you already have a macro lens, you can still use the macro extension tube, and that will just give you even bigger magnification when you are taking photo with the macro lens and the extension tube. So this is a photo that I shot using the 60mm macro lens with both of the extension tube installed. And here I took another photo of my computer screen using this combo. And if you zoom in the photo, you can easily see the subpixel on my computer screen. Overall, I think this Meike macro extension tube set is a pretty good accessory. The price is very affordable. I think the retail price right now is just under $50 US, and it can turn pretty much any lens into a macro lens. Especially right now, Nikon has not released any native Z-mount macro lens yet, so that would be a very good and affordable solution if you want to do a bit of macro photography using your Nikon Z cameras. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions about this macro extension tube set, feel free to drop a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as possible.